expected. And finally in 2018, we get this, the Tata Harrier, an SUV which is very promising and is underpinned by a Land Rover platform. Now dare I say it, this is a mini Land Rover. And that's because there are a lot of Land Rover elements in the design. For starters, at the front, it looks absolutely wicked because the headlight isn't conventional. That is actually the LED DRL as well as the indicator. Meanwhile, you get the headlight over here along with the cornering lamps, and the fog lamps are placed below. It also gets the piano black touch, and most importantly, from the side, it looks absolutely scintillating, other than the fact that the alloy wheels are a tad too small and also too plain Jane for a car which looks so flamboyant at the front as well as the rear, where you get nice LEDs. Other striking elements on this car which debuts Tata Motors' impact to design language includes a gloss finished front grille, a floating roof, a rear spoiler, as well as a shark fin antenna. Other interesting design bits include this gloss finish on the rear view mirror along with the indicator, as well as this chrome line which runs all the way behind. In fact, this car gets a lot of chrome on the side, including the door handles. All in all, the Harrier is one of the few cars which actually looks like its concept. From concept to production, this car is very genuine in terms of styling. The only thing is that the alloy wheels have really shrunk in terms of size. Step inside and you will believe that this is not a Tata car because it is so different, and yet it feels very premium as well. The dashboard design is very nice, it feels premium, and best of all, quality levels are actually very good for a Tata car. In fact, this vehicle gets a lot of soft touch plastics, and the best thing is that they have used something which not many manufacturers use, which is oak wood on the dashboard and oak colored seats which also get perforation. These are leather seats and extremely comfortable as well. The driver's seat gets 8-way adjustment which includes lumbar support as well. That's not all, the dashboard also uses satin chrome as well as gloss black finish around the AC vents. The steering wheel is an all-new unit. It feels nice to hold and it gets buttons for various functions including cruise control, the functions on the multi-information display on the instrument cluster, as well as for the infotainment system. The Harrier gets a very unique handbrake. It is known as the Aero Throttle style piano black finish handbrake, and it is so cool. The fit finish levels of this car are very good. It feels built to last. In fact, the doors also feel heavy. The driving position is very nice. You can see the hood while driving. However, there are some ergonomic issues with this vehicle. For instance, my left leg scrubs with the dashboard while changing gear. Meanwhile, if you want to use the USB at the front, you really have to duck down and search for it. And while the outside rear view mirrors are massive in size, they actually hinder visibility, and the fact that the A-pillar is also big doesn't really help matters. The Harrier scores high on practicality because it gets as many as 28 storage bins inside the cabin, right from big door pockets which can easily accommodate a 1-liter bottle to sunglass holder, smartphone holder. In fact, it even gets an umbrella holder. Under the front center armrest, there's also a cooling function. Meanwhile, the glove box is large enough and there's also a tablet holder in this car. The Harrier gets an 8.8-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which by the way is similar to the one which you see in the Range Rover Velar. This one gets a lot of functions, right from Apple CarPlay to Android Auto connectivity. It also gets a reverse parking camera, there are reverse parking sensors as well, and it also gets navigation. It's a very slick unit with good graphics, and there are a lot of modes. In fact, there's something known as Drive Pro, which also rates your driving style and gives you score based on that. This system also gets video playback, there's voice recognition, there's voice commands as well, and it gets a 320 watt JBL sound system with 4 speakers, 4 tweeters and 1 subwoofer. It also gets an external amplifier. Sound quality is just phenomenal. The other unique feature in the Harrier is the instrument cluster, because it gets a 7-inch screen, which is both for the multi-information display as well as the tachometer. The multi-information display is really very loaded. It will tell you exactly which door of the vehicle is open. It also gets a real-time power and torque meter, which is shown in a graphical format, something similar to the one which we first saw in the Maruti Baleno. It also gives you a lot of warnings, including for the front passenger seat belts. Meanwhile, if you cross 120 km per hour, not only will it continuously buzz because it obviously mates with the upcoming regulations, it also shows you a warning saying that you are overspeeding. The Harrier is equipped with plenty of features. It gets passive entry, push button start, cruise control, leather seats, fully automatic climate control system, and it also does logo projection from the outside rearview mirrors at night. This car also gets xenon HID projector lights, which offer good throw at night. It also gets hill descent control as well as a hill hold function. However, the Harrier misses out on certain features which is present in the Hyundai Creta, one of the most popular selling SUVs around this price bracket. For starters, it misses out on wireless charging, electric adjust for the driver's seat, a sunroof and an auto dimming inside rear view mirror. The seat belts also aren't height adjustable at the front. In terms of safety, Tata has equipped this vehicle with 6 airbags, a first for the company. It also gets an advanced ESP which gets off-road modes, and along with that 14 other functions. Tata Motors chose to underpin the Harrier with the Discovery Sports L550 platform and not the Freelander's L359 platform, because the latter isn't that roomy at the rear. Thus, backseat comfort was a priority when making the Harrier, and they have nailed it because there's plenty of space over here in the rear seat. There's good amount of knee room as well as leg room, and under thigh support is also very good. Even for a person of my height of 6 feet 2 inches, there's good amount of headroom on offer, and the seats are very comfortable as well. AC vents are placed on the B pillar at the rear, and the window area is large enough, so this is a place which is quite comfortable for long journeys. Boot space is decent enough in this vehicle, and you can obviously push forward these seats as well in a 60-40 split to increase boot space even further. The spare wheel of this vehicle is placed outside underneath, and it doesn't get an alloy wheel. In fact, the other cost cutting is that the driver's side sun visor doesn't get a mirror. Powering the Tata Harrier is a Fiat Source 2-liter multi-jet diesel engine, which Tata likes to call as Cryotech, and it produces 140 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque. This engine is quite refined lower down. However, once you get past 3000 RPM, it gets very vocal. It produces punchy performance. There is some amount of lag in the low end, but the mid-range is really very strong, and it redlines between 4.5 to 5000 RPM. The top end isn't that great, but this car gathers good momentum, and certainly it has good pace. Being a Tata car, it obviously has to have something unique, which happens to be the multi-drive modes: City, Eco as well as Sports. Obviously, this changes the map, which means that the power and torque output in various modes is different. It is the most in Sport mode, and it can be felt immediately. When you get into Eco mode, you feel like the car has lost a lot of punch. However, in Sport mode, the performance is very sprightly. This car should return a mileage between 10 to 12 kilometers per litre, which is quite respectable. It also gets a very smart ESP mode. Unfortunately, with the ESP turned off, you can't get into sport mode. This smart ESP has 14 functions. It also gets a selector for the terrain modes, which happens to be dry, which happens to be the regular mode. There's also a mode for wet driving, which is in the rain, and there's also an off-road mode. Now, it might seem like a gimmick for a monocoque equipped car with front-wheel drive, but when we went off-road, we were pleasantly surprised. The Land Rover genes are very evident in spite of this being a front-wheel drive car. Trust me, no front-wheel drive car can do what the Harrier was able to do in the dunes, and we simply did not get stuck at all. In fact, there were times we were just digging into the dunes, into the sand, but then we selected the rough mode on the ESP rotary dial, and immediately the Harrier was able to come out. So what exactly does the ESP do? It works very smartly to ensure that you don't put too much power out and dig yourself into sand, and it works quite well. Very smartly done, Tata Motors. Very impressive as well. However, an all-wheel drive variant would have been most welcome, but considering the sales are only 2 to 3%, it doesn't justify the development cost for the same. This car's 6-speed manual gearbox isn't the smoothest, and the clutch also has a lot of play. However, an automatic will be launched next year, which is going to be sourced from Hyundai. It's going to be a 6-speed torque converter gearbox. The Harrier uses the same suspension as the Discovery Sport. Meanwhile, at the rear, it is developed by Tata Motors in conjunction with Lotus Engineering. The ride quality is very great. In fact, it's only at low speed you can feel a little bit of the judder, but as the speed increases, the ride quality simply improves and becomes absolutely phenomenal. The Harrier uses a hydraulic steering. The steering has a lot of feel and feedback as well. At low speeds, it is not very light, but at high speeds, it does weigh up decently well. Yes, there is some amount of body roll on offer, but as an SUV, this car does change direction with eagerness. The Harrier doesn't get rear discs, and the braking performance is decent. It could have done with better feel at the brake pedal. The Harrier is easily the best Tata product ever. It is just a sensational SUV. It drives well, the ride quality is brilliant, and of course there's a lot of comfort on offer, plenty of features as well, and it does feel very refined and well put together. Now, it's going to be priced between 16 to 21 lakhs on road Mumbai, and yes, certain features could have been added. The lack of automatic is a glaring omission, which obviously will come in the future, but as a product and an SUV, the Harrier absolutely nails it. You are definitely going to see a lot of this car on the road, I promise. If you are looking to purchase a Tata Harrier with a car loan, Bank Bazaar can help you apply for one real easy. Just download the Bank Bazaar app to access lowest rates from more than 40 banks to instantly finance your car. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it the thumbs up and also subscribe to the Motibeam channel, and do let us know in the comment section what do you feel about this mini Land Rover.